Hello, so my name is Trinity Hartwell, and my slide subject presentation is going to be coffins, burial cases, and caskets between the 17th, 18th, and 19th century. Why I chose this topic because before the 17th century, the deceased was buried in the open ground. What they mean by open ground is they would dig a hole and lay the body in it without conceal the body from the dirt, and body snatchers would every year there'd be about 1,000 body snatchers or bodies gone from the grave, and so they wanted something to prevent that, and so that's when they started coming up with the coffins and stuff, but we'll talk about that more later on. But the highlight topics would be the Grant State casket, the life signal casket, and then the stone and metal coffins would be the main three. My second slide is going to be, I gotta get it. It's going to be the colonial burial. So David Portal in 1678, that included a coffin, 12 shingles, and a windering sheet, 18 shingles. The only materials he used was a wood, iron, and lead. So literally, basically, it was just a coffin. At first he was just trying to design something that would just close. And my drawing's not the best. I'm no art person, so but I drew a coffin, just kind of stating, it's 8 sides, and he just was trying. Of course, it doesn't seal. He was just trying to find something, to kind of close the body in. But it's just kind of stating that in 1678, that includes a coffin. That presents a funeral bill. And then Judge Sewell recounts a visit to the family tomb in 1698, where 'twas wholly dry, and went at noon to see what in order things were set, and there was entertained with a view of converse with the coffins of my dear father and mother cousins. So from his earlier entry of 1685, we also know that the coffin was one of the Swell daughters, was made of the chestnut. So Judge Swell decided to use one of the coffins, and he wanted to try it out, and it worked. It wasn't one of the best ones to start out with, but back in the 1600s, it was better than putting a shroud over the body and moving on to the laying it into the ground. So that kind of is where it began. So that is about the colonial burial. And then my next one is going to be stone and metal coffins. It's about the Fish metallic coffin. Almond Fisk claimed to created a new and useful manner of constructing an airtight coffin of cast or raised metal. So this is where the casket started getting airtight. Those are lockets, if you can't tell. So he had decided, he was going to try and build a coffin type of casket. But it really wasn't a casket, it was a coffin. But try and airtight it. So he, the air may be exhausted so completely to entirely prevent the decay of contained bodies and principles well understood, or if preferred, the coffin may be filled with any gas or fluid having the property of preventing purification. So basically, he wanted to try and see what he could build with it, which he used metal, so it was really heavy. So it didn't last long. It expired, and it only issued for 14 years. It expired in 1862, but some people wanted wanted to continue it, the produce for the Fisk burial case himself under the partnership. And so they sold. The reason I put New York City or NYC is because they continued selling these iron cases between $7 and $40 in an office and sales room in New York City. So they continued selling them even after they was expired, because I mean they're heavy, and you know that's kind of hard getting, you know, pallbearers or in that case family members, undertakers, to carry a loved one. So I just thought that was really kind of neat how it is designed. The pictures, of course, online and in the book is kind of totally more better, but I just think that is really cool how it is designed. So just kind of wanted to show you all about that. And then my fourth slide is going to be a large scale and manufacture of metallic burial cases. So I want to, let me make sure I get this lined up. Okay. So a large scale manufacturing of metallic burial cases also became popular due to the widespread use of the Fisk metallic burial case. The days of small town coffin shops were beginning to wane. So I know that's kind of hard, but this was a building where they started the company, the Crane of Breed. And this is the casket where they were trying to show an idea of what the caskets were going to look like, the improved round in metallic casket. And they started this in the 1853, manufactured from Fisk, M.H. Crane, and J.R. Barnes of Cincinnati, Ohio. This started organized in August 15th, 1853 under the name of Cranes, Barnes, and Company. 5 months later, it was succeeded by the Crane Breed and Company. And so that's basically, it's just saying that this company wanted that casket, the metallic burial caskets, and wanted to go somewhere with it. And so they built a company, a building, and decided to start trying to go bigger and start building more coffins instead of one person building the coffins. And so and later on it goes to show it states that Breed purchased shares of John Mills, and the firm continued under the ownership and title until 1882, when it is incorporated as a Crane and Breed MFG company. It should be noted, with the introduction of metallic burial cases into the funeral business of America in the mid-century. So this casket, when Almond D. Fisk built it, it started becoming popular because, they realized that it was going somewhere with it, but they wanted not to just be a metallic coffin. They wanted to try and make it into a casket. So I just thought that was kind of really neat and how that was going about. So for my slide 5 is going to be a Style E State casket cloth burial. And it's the Style E casket was used for the funeral of ex-President U.S. Grant. It was made with the finest black broadcloth, heavy silver mountings, flat top with French plate glass, and its inner metallic glass was especially finished with on the interior and interior. On the interior and outerior, and set off by a pillow, which general's initials were embroidered. So Grant got a very special casket. They made, the cloth at this point, they had put very special design, had a glass built in it, like right here where I didn't color is the glass. And so they had kind of more put detail into this casket, just because it was the president, and he died in July of 1885. And so they wanted to make sure that he was comfortable, and that, for his last send-off, that he was going to be, because everybody was going to see him. And so President Grant funeral took place on August 8th, 1885 in New York City. Over 1.5 million people was lining the streets. So there was a glass, of course, they didn't really do a funeral, I guess you could say. People were lining up to see him, and that's kind of why they did a glass. They didn't open the casket. Back then it really wasn't an open type of thing. They just could see through the glass, so they just seen him through the glass. So over 1.5 million people was lining up to see him. And so, but that's when the cloth had started coming about, and the heavy silver, and more interior, outerior kind of stuff. And so that's just, everybody wanted this casket. Everybody was on about it. And everybody really wanted it. They just thought it was really cool design, and they're like, well, we want that casket. And it didn't get made anymore, so he was the only one with it. So for my slide 6 is going to be the 19th century. 19th century casket inventions that did not become popular. Glass caskets, cross-shaped casket, cement, and artificial stone, due to a combination of practical, aesthetic, and economic factors. Basically, these caskets did not, work out. The glass casket, of course, because the fact is, it ended up breaking or anything like that. The cross-shaped casket, it just didn't work out like it was in the coffin shaped, like they thought it was going to. They just thought the more wood and the metal kind of artificial kind of worked out better than that. So as they went on building caskets, they just thought it was not going to work out like that. So for my 7th one, it is life signal caskets, and it is designed due to a common fear of being buried alive. So back then, embalming did not work as well, or we didn't do it at all. So they they tied a rope to it and had a bell to it, and used a narrow round tube attached the head into the coffin in such a manner that the rope might be pulled away from the inside, releasing an air opening and setting off an electric alarm. So they did that because in case someone was to wake up in the casket, then they want to, if someone was to wake up in the casket, then they want to make sure that the alarm goes off and someone hears them. So they just want to make it aware of that. So that's why they started doing the life caskets in the 1840s, 1843s. So they started those just because people has been buried alive way too many times, and they couldn't never get them out, so they ended up dying after they buried them up, and they realized they were alive from the scratch marks and stuff like that. So then that's when they kind of started doing life caskets. So for my number 8, it is burial vaults and protection are protective boxes and containers placed around a casket in a grave. It started in the late 1700s. Materials they used were rock, stone, brick, and wood. So when the casket started coming along, this is when they decided to build a vault around it, just to protect the casket in any way they can, because that caskets aren't cheap as they as the centuries go on. Nowadays in the 20th century, caskets are not cheap. They range anywhere between $600 to $55,000 to $8,000. So depending what kind of casket. So you want to try and get a burial vault to protect it as much as you can. So those are kind of the ideas of what you would get to use or build. So, and then for number 9, I thought I had a title for this, and I guess I don't, but it'd be the zinc shoulder casket. Was first introduced in 1857 by the Crane and Breed Casket Company. These cases were specifically designed to be hermetically sealed, airtight, preventing leakage and leaking odors. So this is when they started getting more into detail of the casket's form. So they had decided to do the zinc shoulder caskets, where it's kind of more fitting to the body. Instead of doing more coffin shape, they decided to start shaping more into the body figure. So that kind of helps them in a type of way. So they decided back in the 1857 to do the shoulder caskets. So that kind of shows that idea. Then for my last slideshow, cloth burial cases. The metallic and then the wood. Introduction of the mass-produced wood, constructed metal, reinforced cloth-covered burial cases. So while the metallic never compromised its perfection, preservation, its form, as noted earlier, slowly moved from the sacrifice's mummy case to the regular casket. Somewhat different development to the manufactured burial reptiles, however, is found in the story of the introduction of the mass-produced. So this is when, in the 19th century, they start actually building, they start getting sturdier. They kind of start taking away the glasses, the glass and everything, and start actually doing the conceal and actually kind of, you know, getting into more depth in with this, which their pictures are more detailed than mine is, but I'm not a very good drawer. So it just kind of shows you know, the wood art, where they kind of, you know, have a little bit of design up here, and they kind of close it up, and it seals. Which on the wood ones, this is the wood one. It just kind of shows them a manufacturer a cloth covered casket. So there is cloth inside both of these, kind of just showing, you know, as they go on, they're adding stuff to it, the pillows, the cloths, and everything else. So, and my last one, my conclusion, is from the 17th to the 19th centuries. Coffin evolved from simple wooden boxes to elaborate caskets reflecting social status and technological advances. Early coffins were basic, but the 18th century brought ornate designs for the wealthy. And what I would love about this course, or what I loved about this course, is the, you know, definitely there would be the caskets and the burial vaults, but also the hearse, but the modern hearses. The carriage hearses were kind of cool too, but I definitely like the modern hearses. I've seen a couple of them in pictures and everything, but I definitely think those are cool. So, but that is my project, and I hope y'all like it. Thank y'all so much.